ladies and gentlemen, or rather boys and girls, hi. Some of the well-wishers of Kanchana, Gnanasekaran and Mr. Giri have decided they were deciding to give a gift to these three people. But then I suggested, I said, all the gifts ultimately are not useful. So some money has been collected. No names mentioned, some of the well-wishers. So this is for Kanchana. Please come over. Yeah, that's you. You had a doubt? So, it's for you. Stay blessed.
Thank you, sir.
Gnanaseka. So, thank you. And Mr. Giri, you've done a wonderful job. You've taken good photographs, no? All handsome guys. Thank you. Mr. Dhanajayan, the thing is, a man who is unheard, unsung, very quiet guy, but a very good worker. Cheers.
Thanks, Mohan. Friends, perhaps this is something which is not required. Nevertheless, all of them did purely out of their love to participate in a program like this and arrange as a volunteer. In fact, Mr. Gnanasekaran is a master's in hospital administration with 20 years of experience. And he's taking care of our Sankara Eye Hospital, Bangalore, which is a 250-bed hospital, having an average OP of about 500 a day and doing about 100 surgeries a day, and non-paying surgeries of 30,000 every year. So he's the head of that hospital, Gnanasekaran. All are simple, humble people. So they wholeheartedly came forward and said that we would like to make call. Let's give them a big hand. That should be the... So we have our guest speaker here. Arun Sriram is a chartered accountant turned stand-up comedian who is on a mission to spread smiles one gig at a time. He has performed in Bangalore, Chennai, Mumbai, Hyderabad, and worldwide in Zoom during the pandemic. He specializes in sunshine humor. No controversies. And the only person who gets offended by his humor is he himself. Presenting to you, Arun Sriram.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. How are you all doing? Super. Thank you very much. Firstly, before anything, any jokes, firstly, thank you very much for keeping every one of us alive through the pandemic. A sincere token of gratitude from me. Thank you very, very much. I can't tell you how much you have, your families, your colleagues have done to keep us all alive. And truly, truly grateful for that. And with that, I'll ask this gentleman, sir, your name, and which was that one WhatsApp forward you got during the pandemic about do this, it will disappear? Any one WhatsApp message in your group that said you stand in the sunshine, Corona will go away, you do this, any of that WhatsApp you have ever received? That irritates you? Why did I study medicine? If people are saying just go to the terrace, any of you have been annoyed by such WhatsApp forwards? Yes? Yes, sir.
I was asked to stand upside down on my hands for 3 minutes in the morning and 3 minutes in the evening.
How did you feel, sir, when you saw that?
I thought, why did I waste my 16 years training for this cardiothoracic surgery?
I know how it feels because people give me taxation advice as a CA. So I know how irritating it can be, sir. Totally understand. And I was born in Mumbai. Anybody have been to Mumbai? Worked in Mumbai, been in Mumbai? Mumbai people are very, very down to earth. Very, very down to earth, even in the skies. Okay? So I was traveling from Bangalore to Hyderabad for a show. And I knew that the person sitting next to me was from Bombay. Because as soon as the flight was going to land, he asked me, Sir, Hyderabad A side aayega ya A side aayega? That's the question you normally ask in a Mumbai local train. Which side is my station coming? That kind of people, very, very down to earth people. And I grew up in Chennai. How many of you Have been to Chennai, grew up in Chennai, from Chennai. One shout out, it's okay. Woo! Awesome, awesome. So Chennai has been it's been very kind to me. I was born in Mumbai, brought up in Chennai. They say, no, East will make things rise. I was brought to the East, but I could raise only so much. Okay, a little short on that, but it is what it is. Okay, ba. And growing up in Chennai was very tough for me because I am not that a great student. Unlike many of you, I am just a very, very average student. But it so happened that my class topper used to live in my adjacent street. The school was 6 kilometers away. But Murphy's Law had it so bad that my class topper was next street. After every examination, and the payyanoda amma, she will come home from the temple with prasadam. And she will come and complain to my mother about her son's performance. His name is Vijay. She will come and tell my mother, especially when I am there at home, Vijay parungole, maths la 97 da, science la 98 da. Silly mistake பண்றான் கேட்டா அம்மா நான் டீச்சருக்கு குருதட்சிணை கொடுத்துருக்கேன்னு சொல்லிட்டு வந்துட்டான். And she will go. பத்தி வச்சாச்சு, she will go. Now I have to handle my mother. She will look at me. I will look at her. And then I told her, Amma, என்னம்மா இது 2 marks, 3 marks is giving and saying it is குருதட்சிணா. That is tips. I give my teacher 30, 40. அதுதானேம்மா truly குருதட்சிணா. And that's how I grew, right? And I call myself a 70s kid, not because I was born in 70s or grew up in 70s. My marks were always 60s, 70s. In fact, people ask me, Arun, you are a chartered accountant. You deal with numbers. How come humor? I tell them, you should have seen my school report card. அதில் இருக்கிற நம்பரை பார்த்து எங்கள் அம்மா அப்பா எவ்வளோ சிரிச்சிருக்கான்னு எனக்கு தெரியும். So numbers and humor can go together. Was proved when I was in my primary school itself. And slowly I could, finally by 10th standard I got into 80s and all of that. But I didn't know if I should take science. And the reason for that is my elder brother, who is currently working for Amazon, he lives in Tokyo. He dropped out of IIT entrance coaching classes. And this son of my parents who is telling jokes on a Wednesday morning, my parents had a hope that I would go to IIT someday. I could not. But I told my amma, I took commerce, okay? I took commerce and I told my amma, Amma, don't worry, I will do BCom in IIT only. Enga amma na abde katti pidichunta. Like Mother Teresa, she told me, Arun, you please take commerce. I don't know what you will kirchify in commerce, but I want to save science from you. Imagine if I was also a doctor, imagine your situation, no? Or even other people's situation. Thank God I took commerce. But commerce, on the Chennai, if you've been to Chennai, grow up in Chennai, you know that people who take up commerce are looked down upon. Yes or no? No? Thank you, sir. Somebody is in minority. Super. Right? So, because in Chennai, typically, at least when I grew, we had 3 options. Either you become a doctor, engineer, or a failure. Failure. I took up the failure option. Okay, so went through it. Now Amma said this, then Appa is a different kind of a person. All the sons in the house will perhaps know that the most distant relation in their entire relative circle is their father. Most likely. In school exams, I will tell you, 4th standard grammar questions, superlatives, fast, fast, faster, fastest, high, higher, highest, far, farthest, father. That is the kind of distance we are talking about. There was this Hindi song, if you recollect back in 1989, there was a movie called Kayamat Se Kayamat Tak. There's a famous song called Papa Kehte Hain. Have you heard that song? Yeah? I found that to be the best piece of fiction ever written. Because South Indian houses mein Papa kuch nahi keh paate hain. It's called mother tongue for a reason. Because it takes time for the kid to know that the father can also speak. Right? And so my dad was very angry that I took commerce. Very angry, but he did not want to show it directly on me. So this is what he did. On the eve of science board exam, he chose a date. He decided to install cable TV. Why did he do that? Because next day was an India-Pakistan World Cup cricket match happening here in Bangalore. Do you all remember the famous Venkatesh Prasad, Amis Sohail, people follow cricket? The great incident happened. On the eve of that day, he installed cable TV. I was very angry. I went and confronted him. Appa, naleki exam, why have you installed cable TV now? It's board exam, pa. You don't want me to study or what? Appa, onne da sonnaru. Chennai la ella commerce pasangalum kepanga. Commerce thaneda. Mudinja alavukku padi. Therinja alavukku ezhudu. Porum po. And that is how, that's what actually kept me going. I'm like, inda alavukka insult. And then when I finally finished my chartered accountancy also in first attempt, normally people clap for this, but you people are so illustrious that I don't expect any claps from you. இப்படிலாம் கேட்டு வாங்கிக்க வேண்டியிருக்கு. Right? I finished CA and then we went back to school. Okay, just to tell our principal, vice principal that we have cleared our CA. Because in schools, what they used to do is every annual day in our school function, they will publish the list of students who got admission into IIT from that batch. Religiously, they will do it. Other people can go to hell. IIT ponada nee a student. Okay, that is how we were brought up. So we said, okay, our number celebrate pannalanna, we will go and tell them. So we went, 7 of us, we cleared in the first attempt. We went to our school. We wanted to meet the principal, but we could only meet the vice principal. Why vice principal? Commerce dane. Okay, so went and met the vice principal. She's like, children, very well done. You all finished CA. Very good. Which college? CA yaarpa college la pannuvaanga? That was the amount of awareness that the educational management had about what chartered accountancy was when we cleared it. Seri, inda insult eல்லாம் ஆச்சு, வாங்கிட்டோம். வாங்கி காருக்குள்ள ஏறினா tuned into radio. And this is where really insults happen when you don't expect it at all. Radio tune பண்ணா எல்லா radio frequency 90 plus. 93.5, 94.3, 95, 98.3. என்னடா இங்கேயுமாடா? Why can't you have some 60 frequency radio just for commerce students? In fact, 104, nobody knows it better than you. What is the medical term for a fever of 104, temperature of 104? What is the actual term? Hyperpin, right? But what's it called in Bangalore? Fever 104. Just a fever. 104 also is not a big enough number. That is how much they just write it off. And so we always got used to this thing that, okay, we are second class citizens, we are second class citizens. But I can tell you one thing, CA or not, in the last 1 year, the opportunities that I have got as a stand-up comedian, I would not have got as a chartered accountant. I was one of the few guys, I like how Dr. Nada says boys and girls to you all the time. I really like it, sir. Great spirit. Right? So, it was amazing, okay? I was one of the few guys in the entire 1 crore people of Bangalore to have got entry into Mount Carmel College to perform as a stand-up comedian. I don't think they would have allowed me even if I was a CFO somewhere. I also got to address the Women's CA conference. I wouldn't have got that opportunity if it was just another CA. Because, and today, I had this beautiful opportunity of meeting someone like Dr. Padmasri, Ramani sir here. I would not have dreamt of meeting anybody who's gotten Padma Award before. This is what stand-up comedy has done for me. But getting back to being a chartered accountant alone, I joined as an accountant, right, as in a finance team. And this is what I found about all the finance people who sit in your offices, okay, in your hospitals or wherever, your CA offices. The first response to any question you ask, any permission you ask, if you go to an accountant, the first answer is no. Have you faced it when you are in hospitals anywhere, when you go to accountants and say, I need budget for this event, I need budget for that event? They all sound like, Shashi Kapoor of Diwar. Mere paas na hai. That is how these people are, man. And bulk of my years growing up, once I cleared my CA, has been in Bangalore. How many of you live in Bangalore? Not many people, that's surprising. Okay, very few of you. Okay, great. So Bangalore it's a beautiful city. People who have lived here will definitely attest to it. Fantastic weather, excellent people. But it took some time for me to understand the city a little better. So when I came and asked people, where is some place, they'll always say, Marthahalli Nalli. Kundalahalli Nalli, JP Nagar Nalli. I was like, even Chennai doesn't have so many Nalli sarees. How come Bangalore? I didn't understand. It took a lot of time for me to understand. But beyond that, Bangalore is one city where people have jet lag traveling from office to home. One of my friends I used to work with him, he had a watch which had 2 time zones, Banashankari and Whitefield. Because he told me every day I start in AM but I reach office in PM. I think these are 2 time zones. And I live in a place called Whitefield. When I'm actually performing inside Bangalore, I always tell them I live in Whitefield. I don't tell them I live in Bangalore. Because people always make so much fun of Whitefield. It is unbelievable. One of my friends, he told, we were supposed to meet. My school friend, he came visiting. And we were supposed to meet. I told him, Rishi, why don't you come to Whitefield? He said, no. Whitefield is too far off. I can't come. He was in Kengeri. He believes Kengeri is Bangalore, but Whitefield is not Bangalore. Worse than that, people will tell me, Arun, Whitefield is too far. I live in Koramangala. Why don't you come to Koramangala? We have all studied maths. Distance from A to B is equal to distance from B to A. Except in Bangalore where we have one-ways all over the place. This is normal mathematics. If Whitefield is far from Koramangala, Koramangala is also far from Whitefield only, no? The South Bangalore attitude is something I cannot understand. Same thing, this guy tells me, Arun, come to Koramangala, it's happening. Hamare paas restaurants hai, pubs hai, colleges hai, kya hai tumhare paas? I tell them, mere paas metro hai. You finish Ajipura flyover, then I will come to Koramangala. Till that time, we will meet anywhere else. Always insulting, man. One, being in Bangalore, being in Whitefield is a real torture to be with. But Bangalore traffic is also legendary. It is legendary. Once I got booked for stalking by a lady because she thought I was following her when she was walking on the road. Must be true. Could be true, sir. Could be true. She filed a complaint. I didn't tell you how it went. Must be true. I will give myself some benefit of doubt, sir. And all that I was doing was I was in my car. Just that the car is slower than a person walking on the road. Doesn't mean I was stalking her. And it's so, there's one kutti bike called Yulu. Have you all seen that by any chance? One small blue bike that people ride in a battery operated. It runs at 10 kilometers per hour. It has a tagline. The tagline is more convenient than walking, which is correct. Second line is faster than a car. It goes at 10 kilometers per hour. And that bike is called Yulu Miracle. Something that goes at 10 kilometers per hour in Bangalore is a miracle. Very well timed, man. And going forward, I did my finance was happening great. But also growing up in Chennai, one of the things that people tell me, or at least everybody assumes, is if you have been in Chennai, you will not know Hindi. Right? The general impression is people will not know Hindi if you are growing up in Chennai. My parents were very clear when we were kids that no, you guys should study Hindi. We will put you into a CBSE school so that you understand Hindi. And when you understand Hindi, then you can be in any part of India. More likely than not, you can interact with people. You can understand what people are saying. All that is great. But when you study Hindi in Chennai, whom will you practice it with? Apart from grammar and spelling things, teachers can't teach you much. All that I could depend on was Bollywood movies. Right? Bollywood movies will teach you Hindi, how it is spoken, etc. But I found some very weird things happening in Bollywood movies. There was this movie that had the climax written all over it, but that movie ran for 25 years. It said, Dilwale, Dulhaniya le jayenge. You know how it is going to end. But then people kept on watching it every time for 25 years. That is how it works. And some of the movie also I don't understand. Earlier there used to be beautiful titles. Have you heard of this movie title called Mother India? Yeah, it evokes patriotism, no? All those kind of titles started to disintegrate. In the first decade of 2000s, there was this movie called Chak De India. That was great too. In the second decade of 2000s, movie titles became very average. There was a movie called Radio. Then suddenly Shah Rukh Khan came and said, I will make a movie called Fan. Just when you imagine it could go no further down, Salman Khan came up with a movie called Tube-Light. And one of the best people that I love in Bollywood, used to love in Bollywood, is this gentleman called Bappi Lahiri. Have you guys heard Bappi Lahiri songs? Yeah, great guy, superb singer. But one of the things about him, very peculiar thing is when he goes to a passport size, to take a passport size photo in the studio, he would be sitting there with all these necklaces and chains and all of that. And the photographer would be like, sir, sab theek, chin up. He would be one guy who would say, kaun sa chin? Right? And he was amazing, man. But he was such a big legend in Bengal, Kolkata, that they decided to rename the Eden Gardens after Bappi Lahiri. Yeah, they were going to call it the Double Chinna Swami Stadium. That was Bollywood, but Bollywood also told me a lot of things about all these actors and actresses in Bollywood. They are afraid if any of their movies will get banned at any point in time, they will lose their market. So they always act in some advertisement or the other. Yeah, just to make sure things happen great. So we had one gentleman by name Salman Khan, right? He is amazing. In 1989, he used to act in a Rajashri movie called Maine Pyar Kiya. In 2022, he was acting in a Rajashri Pan Masala ad. That is his career graph. Then you have a person called Saif Ali Khan. Saif Ali Khan taught me what it means to be suave, cool. Because he used to come in this ad called Royal Megastag, CDs and all of that. Supposed to be alcohol, but they can't advertise. And he would be playing the guitar in a really, really cool fashion. He taught me how guitar is meant to be played. Because when I was growing up, the people were Rishi Kapoor, Mohan, Balakrishna, so on and so forth. Irrespective of the tone of the song, when they play guitar, this is how it will look. It's as though they're taking bath and they're using a Margot soap. That is how it always used to look. And I always used to wonder, if you notice all these ads, some of them don't know which advertisement to endorse for. For example, Kareena Kapoor. Kareena Kapoor will come and say, buy Head and Shoulders, 20 rupees off. Normally makes sense. But who is Kareena Kapoor? Pathaudi Khandan ki Bahurani. Daughter-in-law of the Pathaudi dynasty, telling us 20 rupees off, therefore I am buying it. It is an insult on everybody. Right? And if you notice all the shampoo advertisements have always been endorsed by couples. Saif Ali Khan and Kareena Kapoor. Virat Kohli and Anushka Sharma, Ranveer Singh and whomsoever he was dating at that point in time. But the common factor was they were always couples. I used to wonder whether love is in the air or love is in the hair. Bollywood teaches a lot of things, but I love how Shah Rukh Khan went about doing his entire strategy of what to endorse. He knew everybody will study. So he used to endorse Byju's when it used to run. Okay? And after that, if you study well, you get a good job, you buy a Hyundai car, again he endorses the Hyundai car. If you don't study well but you still want to make money, come, let's play 1, 2, 3 Rummy. If you make money, go buy that Hyundai car. If you don't make money, there also come watch Zero with me because you are also zero. His framework is beautiful, man. Absolutely beautiful. So Bollywood also teaches economics to me. So I kind of learn whatever I can in terms of commerce and economics as things go. That's how it was going. And 20 years I was in corporate. I used to work in different companies. I worked in a Reliance company. I worked in Infosys. I worked in Unilever. Infosys, shareholders of Infosys. Anyone here? Anybody of you here heard about the recent controversy around 70 hours a week working in newspapers? Yeah. All the IT guys were like, what do you mean 70 hours? What do you mean 70 hours? Do we have a... And I'm sure all the doctors would be like, hold my stethoscope. 70 hours is my single shift. What are you all talking about? Right? And my sister-in-law is a doctor, by the way, and so is her husband. And I figured out that normally doctors marry doctors. Is that more or less the norm here also? Most of you have found partners from within your graduation, post-graduation. Yeah? Bharat matrimony can never work in the doctor community, no? It is useless. Because by the time you log into matrimony, you're already searching for your child, not for yourself. That's how it is working, man. And another strange thing I heard yesterday, my sister-in-law told me, Arun, we used to sleep with skeletons in the hostel room. I was like, wow, really? She said, I'm sure it would have been for all your cases as well, where you have bones that you buy, you keep it with you alongside, and then depending on which is taken. Right? Amazing, man. So you don't sleep with strangers, but you will sleep with a stranger's bones. Qualified sanskari. Right? Amazing, amazing. So beautiful things about doctorate and all. I used to be in corporate, and I used to get a little irritated with how corporate life went about, which is why I made the switch to performing arts, stand-up comedy, etc. In corporate, I was fooled for 6 years on the trot. And this is how I was fooled by my manager. Every time I would go for a promotion, he will give me another title. But I didn't know it meant the same. I would go and saying, sir, I am assistant manager today. What will I be tomorrow? Give me a promotion. Tomorrow you're deputy manager. What is the difference between assistant and deputy? In hospitals, I'm sure the structure is far more easy to understand, I would think, right? Senior, so on and so forth. In corporate, it's not like that. You join as an assistant general manager, you come out as a deputy general manager. Assistant vice president, you come out as a deputy vice president. And for 10 years, I thought I was getting promoted. Never managed to understand the same thing, only using synonyms from dictionary. But finally, in 10 years' time, I got my first promotion. Okay, and that was on a Monday morning. I get this WhatsApp message saying that you are now promoted to become the WhatsApp admin of this group. And that too, I became a WhatsApp admin because everybody else had left the group, it seems. What am I administrating? I just don't understand, right? So once I went and asked my boss, give me a hike. He told me, you take a hike. I had to immediately leave. That's how corporates were, it was pretty tough, to be honest. But when I wanted to leave corporate, there were a lot of reasons. One is, of course, I wanted to really do well in performing arts, so on and so forth. But before that, there were always things that happened in the office that I did not appreciate. During the pandemic, okay, my team members will not come on video call. And if they come on video call, all of them were having this beard during the entire pandemic. It was so irritating to see all the guys. You don't want to go to a barber. Barber is not there. You can't have a haircut. It's okay. Why come with dadi all the time? I understand no shave November for cancer awareness. Somebody said it is don't shave December. Just once in January. Few times February. Maybe in March. So no shaving whatsoever. And one of my members, I can understand. Okay, fine. You don't have to iron your trousers because you're on a call. You don't want to wear your trousers. That's also okay because we can't see you. But at least come shaven, no? And beyond that, people used to be far more like, one of my colleagues, Prashant, I asked Prashant, can you come on a video call? You know what he told me? Arun, I am not in a position to. What does that even mean at 3 p.m.? Then from behind, his wife is shouting, doesn't your boss have manners? Can't he give you notice before you get onto a video call? I was like, what is happening? And then she's asking him, if we do the same thing to him, how will Basmati react? I was like, what is Basmati now? No, Shri is Srimati, boss is Basmati. Kuch bhi, seriously kuch bhi, man. And then finally when I went for my appraisal to my boss told me, Arun, I have 2 things to share with you. And you can choose which one you want me to start with, the strength or your area of improvement. I said, sir, Monday morning I'm super motivated. Let's start with what I'm good at. He said, Arun, you are very confident. I'm like, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, what is the area you should improve on, sir? That is all that you have. But then he told me, Arun, the most humorous piece of literature I have ever written, I have seen, is your self-appraisal document. It was so funny, I could believe none of it. Maybe you could become a stand-up comedian. I said, okay, let me take that. I became a stand-up comedian. And one of the reasons I also wanted to quit stand-up comedy was I was constantly in this rut of middle class. Always receiving salary, paying EMI. You feel rich on the 31st. By first afternoon, you are poor. That used to be running all the time. I was like, no, I want to get into showbiz. I want to get out of middle class. This rut is too much. And tell you what, in 2 years' time, I have gotten out of middle class and slipping into poverty. Seriously, when I was employed, I used to take Ola cab. In the notice period, I would take Ola auto. After I quit, I started taking Ola share. Now I'm waiting for Ola to launch Ola share auto. I go to restaurant, I see pav bhaji 180 rupees, I start thinking. Then last page it will say extra pav 20 rupees, extra bhaji 50 rupees. I directly order extra pav and extra bhaji without ordering the pav bhaji. And all you doctors, you are beautiful. You have this beautiful practice saying that if I come to you for an ailment, you will say next 1 week, you have one free follow-up visit to come and see us. Most of you do that? Yeah? I take full use of it these days. Even if I get well, I go back to the doctor just because I have one free visit. To go tell him, sir, I'm doing well now. Doctor, I'm doing well now. They think it is humanity. Just that I have time. Because a one-line word of a one-line description of a full-time comedian is a comedian who has full time. That is what we are. Because I can tell you the things I'm doing now I would have never done before. I am now liking my own Facebook posts. I am now playing YouTube on 0.5x speed. That much of time I have these days. You get Facebook requests. How many of you are on Facebook here by any chance? Social media? Yeah. I approve Facebook friend requests faster than them getting a notification that they have sent a friend request. That is the speed at which I operate. I see these ads that come from banks. Rush to your nearest ICICI bank. Rush to your nearest Axis Bank. I don't rush anymore. I go to State Bank of India. I find the service of cashier to be super fast. I tell the cashier, sir, aap lunch kha ke aa jao. I will wait. You have a medu vada in your logo. You finish that and come. No problem. That is the kind of time I have. I really enjoy that. I truly, truly enjoy all that I have got. And 2 years back, almost close to a year back, I became a father. Okay? Ma'am, that's not a joke, ma'am. My family is laughing at me. That's a different matter, ma'am. Don't do this, please. Right? I became a dad maybe 10 years after anybody in our family is asked, when is the good news? Okay? It came rather late, but the good thing is, this is what I want to share here is that people can believe in science, people can believe in faith, but the whole is bigger than the sum of parts. Right? Science helps, faith helps. From nowhere came this thing of, we were planning, but we were not happening. So eventually, we both of us decided that we'll go for an IVF treatment. And then we were blessed with a baby boy last year, April. Right? Now, when I was sharing this news that, we are going to become parents, one of my friends, she lives in Australia, she asked me this question, Arun, is it of mankind or furry kind? Because we had a dog, we now have a dog, she thought, okay, one more dog is going to come home. She trusted mankind far more than we becoming parents to mankind. Okay? But then, and also people told me, Arun, you quit your corporate job in 2022, 2023 you became a father, well done. Right? And I tell people, this story started much earlier in July 2021 when we decided that, okay, we'll go for this IVF treatment. And ever since, it has not been history, it's clearly been her story. Because as a man contributing in an IVF, we all know how much it is. Right? And as a woman going through the entire process, it was so huge, so tremendous, that first she had to lose 14 kilos, right, to be ready to conceive. Then she became pregnant, added back the 14 kilos in due course. So obviously, she has done more method acting than Kamal Haasan has ever done. Kamal would have been proud of all the transformation she went through. And this was a lady who would tell me in the morning saying, Arun, you disturbed me at 3 a.m. when you went to the toilet. And this lady now, when pregnant, has been sitting through the full night without any problem and waking up and telling me, Arun, it's okay. This is all part of change only. If I went for Susu, you had a problem. How did this become so comfortable for you? But that's what motherhood could do is what I realized. And She's gone through a lot of, and the society also is pretty cool, right? It is not very easy on women. The same woman whose every word was subject to bisection, every act was subject to dissection, is completely okay because she is now okay for a C-section. Right? And that's how we all have been. And I also read up a few things about how the pairings happen. Like, it's apparently called Daddy's Princess and Mama's Boy. Have you heard that frequently? Who came up with this pairing? If it's a daughter, is she Amma's Aya or what? She is still a princess only, no? But what I understood was this happened because that the mother knows that the boy will always be a boy, irrespective of whether he gets married off or not. And the father knows that the girl can be a princess only till the time that she gets married. Right? So that really makes sense. And having gone through the entire exercise of delivering a baby and all of that, it was fascinating to see how the attention was getting geared up, where she was the center of attention during the Seemandam event, during the baby naming ceremony and all of that. And having seen all of this in terms of how much a woman goes through in terms of getting a new life into earth, I could not understand why the last name of every child has to be that of their father. Truth be told, I researched on this because now I had full time. Right? I researched because it says that, you know what, it is easy to identify legacy if it comes from the father. Father's name is taken, husband's name is taken. And more obnoxiously, it says that it confirms paternity. Okay? This really threw me away. This threw me away because a woman who is a mother is respected above all. She is pure, she is above everything, always fair. But a wife still has to prove paternity. And that I thought was an insult to the woman in the relationship. So I named my baby Dhruv A. Vijayalakshmi. Okay, that's his name. Now when I did this, I expected some resistance from my parents, which is saying, Arun, you know what, you could have kept both names. For ages together we have had the father's name. Why can't we switch to mother's name? What is the big problem? No, you can keep it as Dhruv Arun Vijayalakshmi or Dhruv Vijayalakshmi Arun. No, I think we have had enough. So just for my wife's satisfaction, I put an A in between to represent me. So the baby's name is Dhruv A. Vijayalakshmi. We had our conversations. But who I was most surprised with was my father-in-law. He asked me, Arun, tomorrow in class or somebody calls him Mr. Vijayalakshmi, how will it be received? I asked him, all these years when your daughter was a child, she was called Miss Ramanathan. Did anybody have a problem with that? Then why should Mr. Vijayalakshmi be a problem? So Dhruv A. Vijayalakshmi was born on April 27, 2023. And with that, I would like to just end that with a message. And like I said in the beginning, what works could be science at times, could be faith at times. But I think the marriage of science and faith is extremely powerful. And I think that will resonate with all of you. And that's been my time. You've been a lovely, lovely audience. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Arun. Thank you so much. And the way you ended, that how the marriage, especially in this kind of a group, has to be always credited. Thank you very much. We all enjoyed your short but humorous talk. Let us give him a big hand, Mr. Arun Sriram. Thank you. Friends, we have another 30 minutes to go. By the time they start serving the soup, will be served here so that you can sit back and then have your soup. And then the lunch will be served in the neighboring hall. Now, we have left, as I already mentioned, that we have not completed the list. We have some more of our friends whom we'll be just listening to. And there is an open free time also. Anybody can come and talk over here after we complete the list. Yes. We have with us Dr. V.B. Nagaral. He is along with Dr. Parvati Nagaral, and he is a 1961 batch, former Director of Health and Family Welfare, Government of Karnataka. Dr. Nagaral, please.
I am Dr. V.B. Nagaral, 1961 batch. I passed my MS from KMC Hubli. I was in government service for 30 years. I became a district surgeon, district hospital Raichur, served in various places, then worked as a ENT surgeon, senior specialist in district hospital Raichur. I have a son who is a dermatologist and professor and HOD of Kasturba Medical College. And my wife is an ophthalmologist, MS ophthalmology from Minto Hospital, Bangalore. And she became the director of Health and Family Welfare Office and retired. And I have a daughter who is living in Canada with MBA and LLM, and her husband is a software engineer. I'm enjoying my family life. I'm grateful to all. Thank you very much.
Dr. N. Narayan, can I request Dr. Narayan, 1963 batch.
I have one son. He has done emergency medicine. He is a professor in St. John Medical College. My daughter-in-law, she has done MRI in States, and she is working in. She is working in, Jaydeva. That's my family.
Dr. H.D. Srinivas from Shimoga, belonging to 1963 batch. Ophthalmologist from Shimoga.
Friends, good morning. I am Dr. Srinivas H.D. from Shimoga. I am the 62 batch, not 63 batch. So after completion of my MBBS, I did my MS and DOMS in Minto Hospital, Bangalore Medical College. And I was in a government service. I took voluntary retirement and settled in Shimoga. My wife is Dr. D.C. Chitra. She was a gynecologist, and now both of us are not practicing. We are in rest. So my daughter is only daughter. She is in Abu Dhabi. Sorry. Okay. My son-in-law is an engineer. He is also in Abu Dhabi.
Thank you, Dr. Srinivas. Dr. Raghavendra Shetty. Dr. Raghavendra Shetty. He belongs to the 1961 batch.
Thank you, sir. That's very nice of you. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to speak to you in a different way compared to what everybody has done. It's very easy to follow. See, I'm an average student. I joined the medical college, uneventful life, but with lots of friends. I qualified in 1967, finished my internship in 1968. Just before finishing the internship, some of the ward nurses, they said, "Sir, doctor, we have got one astrologer in this place. Why don't you go and see him and ask him? He is very, very good, excellent." I didn't believe in all those things. I said, "Okay, let's go and see him." So he saw my hand with a magnifying glass, everything, and he said to me, one of the few things he said, "You're going to get married very soon." Oh my God, I thought, but I was really almost engaged. No, not almost. I was engaged. He said, "You're going to get married very soon." Okay. And he looked again and had said, "Most of your life you're not going to spend in India. You're somewhere away from India." That also surprised me. I never had a thought of going abroad. The third thing he said is, you are going to have three children, 2 boys. The youngest will be a son. Oh, that's even nicer, I thought. So everything, it happened like that. You have to believe that what I'm saying is absolute truth. Soon I got married. I was in Bellary. Then somehow lots of my friends went abroad. my friends went to America, my friends went to Australia, some of my friends went to England. I said, oh, why don't I apply for an employment voucher? I got an employment voucher in 1960, 70 or something like that. And then I got a job, permanent job for life. But still, I went abroad. I went to England in 1976. And ever since, I've been living in England. My eldest daughter, she's an ophthalmologist, consultant ophthalmologist. My second daughter, she's a barrister. And my son is a banker. He wants me to call him as a banker. But he's one of the directors in Barclays Bank. It's a big bank in England. So far, everything turned out right. I couldn't believe, can somebody guess your life all this time? But anyway, that's what happened. Then about myself, I wanted to know, what am I going to do? You think you're going to be a surgeon, you're going to be physician, something like that. But that time, man told me, you're not going to be anything like that. You're going to be a specialist in a small department. That's all, nothing more. So I ended up in doing anesthesia, and I'm an anesthetist. I worked all my life, nearly 40 years as an anesthetist. I retired as an anesthetist. Looking back upon this, I only thought that somebody can predict all your life, what you can do so early. I started believing that may be true. So this is how it happened. I don't have much to say about my children because I've told you they have achieved their own selves. They are professionals in themselves. So that's how it happened. You asked me, do you believe in such things? Now I do. Because this man said the entire life he has spent it in front of me. So everything has come true. I have to believe, and it is all true. So that's one part of my life. I have retired in 2008. That means nearly 15 years I have retired. But some of my friends ask me, what are you going to do 15 years? What have you done all this? Actually, I'm more busier than what I was when I was working. Because my interests are very, very varied. I like sports. I follow football, I follow cricket, I follow tennis. I have interest in politics in the sense that I'm a armchair politician, call it that way. I'm up to date in my national news, Indian news, international news and all that. That sort of thing. And what is your addiction? YouTube is my addiction. I see almost every day. The other thing I do is, I got friends. Mohan said once in a year we must meet. Actually, I'm in contact with so many of my friends all over the country, all over the world, I should say, because I got friends in States, in England, in Australia, in India. In India, too many. So this is my passion. I always kept in contact with them, so I can't physically see them because it's not always possible to meet people. So like that. Then how did I retire? I took about 3 years to plan my retirement, 3 to 4 years to plan my retirement. What am I going to do when I retire? Am I going to sit and brood at home? No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to travel. So I traveled all over the country. I traveled north, south, west, and east. Everywhere I have traveled. And in my life, one of the important things that I wanted to do was I wanted to do yatras. Every year I've come to India for the last 12 years to do only yatras. That's how I spent my life, doing yatras. Then I said I must read something also. So I started reading, Indian scriptures like Puranas and all that. So that sort of thing that I learned. Then, there are lots of ophthalmologists. Dr. Ramani also is an ophthalmologist. Somebody approached me from Bellary in my place. He said, sir, we are trying to, we want to start a eye collection center. If you donate some money, we'll name it after you. I said, but no, I don't want it like that. So there is a eye collection center in my house named after my mother and father. It is still working in its lifetime. In my lifetime, I've seen nearly 240 corneal grafts that have been donated through my charity. So this is how I got. So far about 240 or so, the eyes are collected from the cadavers in India, in Bellary. It is transported to Bangalore in a taxi or whatever it is, and it is transplanted by the Lions Club in Bangalore. So that's how it has happened. It has become a cycle now. If anybody dies in Bellary, they go that organization goes to us, do you want to donate your eyes? This is where it goes on. So, I mean, this is one of the achievements and one of the great things that I consider myself, that I have done something good for this society. There's a saying in Telugu, it's also a Telugu in Kannada, it's a Manava Seve, Madhava Seve. This is how I've done that, Madhava Seve through Manava Seve. So everybody has got their own way of doing things. Then the other thing is, in your life, everybody's life, you must do some charities, dana dharma, they say. I've not gone to many countries to do charitable work. I've never gone to any country to do charitable work. It also says, in Kannada it says, because my mother tongue is Kannada, though I studied Telugu, it says, Tana mana dhanadinda sahaya madabahudu. Means you can do physically, you can do it through your money, you can do anyway. So I've donated several lakhs of rupees for charitable trusts. Even today, last 5-6 years, every year I donate 1 lakh rupees to some organization. I mean, last year I came, I couldn't do it. This year I'm going to do it. So it accumulates in 2 lakh rupees. I just have to donate. I've already chosen the donors. So this is how I've spent my life. So retirement for me has been the longest holiday of my life. Somebody asked me, what are you doing? Longest holiday of my life, called retirement. I enjoy my retirement. This is all what I had to say. But thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Raghvendra Shetty. And especially what you said, traveling with friends. That is something I'm sure everyone will agree. All of us enjoy traveling, again, company of friends. Thank you very much. My childhood friend here, Dr. Raghvendra Rao, we all call him as Babu, right from our first standard we have been together, and we continue to be together. And here he is along with Dr. Asha, I will call her next. She is also a KMCite, and Dr. Raghvendra Rao belongs to the 1963 pre-medical batch. Dr. Rao.
Thank you, Ramani. Hello, everybody. Like Ramani said, 63 batch. And my claim to fame would be, I think I'm 2 years senior to Ramani. So, and of course, in a senior moment, I forgot to add my wife's name as part of KMC. So she will be coming and telling you a few things as well. Well, as far as I'm concerned, I did my undergrad as well as my postgrad in Manipal. Of course, for the clinical, we went to Mangalore, but otherwise I was basically in Manipal. And following that, I joined my dad's practice. Incidentally, my dad and Professor MP Pai, they were partners in Coimbatore before he went to do his fellowship and his Dibrugarh and so on. In his story you can hear. They were partners in a surgical clinic in Coimbatore, Professor MP Pai. And then I have 2 children, both of whom are doctors, naturally. My elder girl, that is Archana, she has married another doctor, and they are in Cardiff. My son is a gynecologist following in his mother's footsteps. And at the moment, my son and Asha, they are looking after the clinic. I have blissfully retired, basically playing golf and gardening. And that's about it. So I'll invite Asha to say a few words, because I didn't add her name as a KMCite.
Thank you, Rao. Before I pass on to Asha, Rao is an excellent golfer. And of course, he's as childish as myself. And we enjoy being together as many times as possible. And we also happen to be the co-trustees in the organization. And his father and my father were colleagues. So it's like 2 families together. And he's a jolly good fellow. I just tell you one, some time back, there was a contest in, is it Times of India? Madam Adair. Huh?
There is a, give me that.
Okay, he wants to say that because this came in the papers. It was a big contest, and the winner is to go to a free ticket to go to 2 tickets to Hong Kong. And this guy he prepared the answer and gave it to his son. In the name of his son, he submitted, and that won it's a national contest. Now I will ask Babu to say that. Come.
Actually, this thing is called comping, where you give a sort of an answer to a question which they put up. So this was, if you remember, the battery, Excite battery, was it? Give me red. So the caption there was, give me red. So this should be an answer to a question. So what is the question that you would put in order to get, give me red? So everybody said, what did the lips say to the lipstick? What did the bread say to the jam? That sort of thing. So my answer was, what did Mrs. Mrs. Adair say when her kitchen caught fire? Any of you know the answer? This would be interesting. Actually, Red Adair was a chap who would fly in a helicopter and drop a dynamite down an oil well which is flaring up. So the whole thing would burst inside the well, there'll be no oxygen, and the fire would fall off. So he is the only chap who had the guts to take a helicopter, fly over exactly that well, and drop it straight down the mouth of the well. So he was called Red Adair. So the answer was, she said, when her kitchen caught fire, what did she say? Give me red, because he would put out the fire. You know, that got me 2 tickets to Hong Kong and back, and also $250 to spend.
Actually, Red Adair was the greatest all-time firefighter known to the world. So an answer to that question, for Give Me Red, he said, what did Madam Adair say when her kitchen got into fire? Answer is, give me red. This is that battery, Excite, that red battery. When they introduced the battery, this was the question, and this was the brilliant answer what he gave. That's Babu. Asha, the better half of Babu.
After this, again, his friend asked him to write answer for another competition, and that friend went to France with his wife. So this is how Raghu is. He never speaks about himself. And I started my PPC at Mysore Medical College. I belong to the 1970 batch. And I finished my PPC and anatomy physiology in Mysore Medical College, and then came to to Mangalore, KMC. So I missed the whole exciting life of KMC Manipal. So I met Raghu in Mangalore. I was doing my pharmacology and he was doing his MS. And unfortunately, I lost my brother at that time. He was 15 and I was 19, and he died of brain fever, and my whole family was going through a very rough time. And the usual matchmaker aunt, she said, oh, get your daughter married to my nephew in Coimbatore. He's a good fellow. And my parents said, no, we can't, because we are going through such a sad time. Then again, after 6 months, the aunt brought the same subject. Then let me said, okay, let me go and see who is this nephew. So I told Tangam Varghese, Tangam, I want to see Raghavendra Rao. Who is Raghavendra Rao? So then he was taking clinics, because we were the students, MBBS, and they were the PGs. So that's how I got to meet him. And that's how I met this jolly good fellow. I have always been a very serious person. And life was so different after that. They would study, Belani and himself will be studying for MS exam in the next room. And I was studying for my MS final year MBBS in the other room, in our apartment in Mangalore. And next day I would go and rattle out all the answers that they studied for MS. And so I got, life became easy for us. So at Coimbatore, we have had a very, I would say, very smooth life, because my father-in-law gave us the nursing home on a platter. And I got my first rank in medicine in the final year, but I became a gynecologist. Instead of going into medicine, I went into gynecology, because I thought, okay, that can fill up the hospital and whatever. And Raghu went into laparoscopic surgery, and there were no teachers. His uncle gave him one telescope and trocar and cannula. He said, Raghu, this is a gift for you. And he said, what should I do with this? He said, this is laparoscope. Then I think like Ekalavya, he just had to read a little bit of theory here and there. And then we started doing laparoscopies in 1976, December. That's the time I was full-term pregnant with my daughter. So that's how the journey into laparoscopy started for Raghu. And later he also did hysteroscopy. He did a lot of work for gynec endoscopy and laparoscopy. So when people gave me name and fame, but it was all done by Raghu, and I enjoyed the, Anyway, so now we have 2 children, as you said, and I'm into IVF and high-risk pregnancy unit. And yeah, so it is lovely meeting all of you here. And thanks to Ramani for having this program year after year. So let's hope that all of us meet next year again. Thank you, Ramani.
Thanks, Asha. Okay.